Good morning, world. Today is Monday, November 3rd, 2025, and this is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. Currently, the weather here in Lexington, Kentucky, it is 37 degrees and feels like 34. There is a dense fog advisory until Monday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Areas of morning fog, then some sun, highs in the upper 50s and lows in the mid 30s. Northeast faces windy, rainy conditions this week, and expect tomorrow to be the next sunny day in this area. And temperatures a little higher than yesterday, up by 5 degrees. Conditions for outdoor activities currently. Running is poor. Cycling is poor. And gardening is poor. Currently, the AQI is good at 37. The UV index is low. Wind, 4 miles per hour, a light breeze. Today, sunrise will be at 7:06 a.m. and sunset at 5:36 p.m. Currently, it is 6:11 a.m. on Monday, November 3rd. Well, those are the weather conditions and what we can expect for today once the sun gets up or rises. There has been continued media coverage of what's going on with the Trump administration amid concerns about SNAP benefits being interrupted, along with other government services, and the government shutdown continues. Right now, I would say comedians are having a field day with the Trump administration. One of the latest things that has come across in the media is Trump's changes to the Lincoln bathroom. Most of these places are historical monuments, and in this case, historical preservation means keeping the place as close to what it was when it was being used as possible. So to put marble in the Lincoln bedroom is kind of a bathroom, in the Lincoln bathroom, all marble, floor, walls, everything. Kind of defeats that purpose. So, as has been said already, tomorrow is November 4th, voting Tuesday for state and local government. Next year, 2026, same time next year, be voting for federal positions, the president. So on that, I would say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So as President Trump continues using his business practices to run the United States government, we are waiting to see what will happen next. So that brings us to Monday, November 3rd, 2025. And the headlines in the news are as follows. Skeletal remains identified in Lexington as lawyer. Next one, billionaire CEO beaten by cops after losing 120 pounds. Wife barely knew him. She recognized him only by the birthmark. Okay, folks, don't get too excited about this one. It is really an advertisement for weight loss. So That's how they decided to title and lead into the story. But it is from Kentucky. J.P. Morgan Chase alerted Trump administration to over $1 billion in suspicious transactions involving Epstein and prominent Wall Street figures. There is a report. MAGA fury erupts over title given to Donald Trump in 60 Minutes interview. It has been stated that Donald Trump has not done an interview with 60 Minutes in 5 years. And he did receive payment from Paramount when he complained about the interview he had during the campaign for president with Kamala Harris being edited. So Paramount, who owns CBS, paid him millions of dollars. In this case, the woman who was doing the interview, Nora O'Donnell, doesn't refer to him as President Trump, but as Mr. Trump. Next one in the headlines. I did warn you all. Obama reminds everyone that he cautioned against Trump before his re-election, but they ignored. Next one. If I'm her, I'm pissed. J.D. Vance responded to backlash after saying he wishes his wife will become a Christian, and it made it 100% worse. If you didn't know, his wife is Hindu. Grizzlies just confirmed what everyone already suspected about Jay Morant. Yes, he is suspended for one game, but considering everything that has gone on with Jay Morant professionally with the NBA, they may be looking to trade him, which would be an option that they could consider rather than keep applying slaps on the wrist to get him to see reason in regards to his position, not only with salary, but as a role model. Next one, pop. Father shoots his own son 12 times while arguing with him over slammed car door, and fight he was having with his girlfriend, cops say. This is a sad story out of Georgia. Next in headlines, USPS and all major banks, including Chase and Wells Fargo, to close for 24 hours in days, the first of 2 November shutdowns. This sounds, folks, more ominous than it actually is. Veterans Day, November 11th, will be the day that these banks are closed. The next day would be Thursday, November 27th for Thanksgiving. And number 10 in the headlines, investigate him. NBA X is baffled by Victor Wembanyama's sudden terrible game in Spurs' 12-point loss to Suns. Considering how Victor has been playing with the Spurs at 5-0, this probably was a shock to a lot of fans and also to probably the Spurs organization. But it's been proven time and time again that even stars, have days when their performance is less than what you would expect it to be. But since there has been so much talk in the media about gambling connected to NBA games, then there is some consideration about that, although there's nothing in Victor's history or past that would indicate that he would be involved in something like that, and his name has not come up in that investigation. So there we have it, headline stories. Moving over to top stories, 5 takeaways from Trump's 60 Minutes interview that you can Google yourself. Jaguars kicker breaks NFL record for longest made field goal, 68 yards. Was how far he kicked the ball to make the goal. Next in the top stories, suspects in Michigan terror plot revealed by Cash Patel were just gamers, defense lawyer claims. So once the FBI released the information about a terrorist plot in Michigan, no further information had been revealed. So the defense lawyer is claiming that they were just gamers. FDA's drug regulator put on leave considering resigning, citing toxic environment. So the drug regulator is in charge of evaluation and research, and the toxic environment that he is referring to has to do with the top position for saying which drugs are fast-tracked to the public based on how much they benefit the public. But this position, if revamped or reorganized, would allow that person to have sole say over what drugs make it to market. So the drug regulator, after being put on leave, is now considering resigning from the FDA. Commanders Jaden Daniels suffers gruesome arm injury and loss to the Seahawks. In this case, the injury was to his non-throwing shoulder, but nonetheless gruesome, just the same. Police searching for suspects after explosion at Harvard Medical School. I'm sure you saw that reported in the media. In this case, they do have video footage of 2 people involved or coming into the building or going out of the building, whatever the video conveys. So they are furthering their search and continuing the investigation on that explosion. Trump says there could be U.S. boots on the ground, airstrikes in Nigeria. This is under scrutiny because in Nigeria, Christians are being persecuted and killed. Trump held Great Gatsby-themed Halloween party at Mar-a-Lago as SNAP benefits were due to be cut off. One of the video clips shows him and Melania handing out candy to children in Halloween costumes. And instead of, he's putting the candy to the children that wore costumes that had a headpiece to them. He was sitting the candy on top of the headpiece of the costume. So it was remarked on SNL, they do have bags. And so it goes. Great Gatsby, the movie, depicts a period just before the Great Depression. And only 1% of the people in America were making money above the poverty line, and 60% of the people in that period were below poverty line income. So it was not really a period where everyone was celebrating. UK stabbing suspect named and charged with attempted murder. This is UK, England. 10 people were stabbed by a person who has been named now. and in all 10 counts was charged with attempted murder. And last in the top stories, Andrew, brother of King Charles, will move into King Charles's remote private estate amid Jeffrey Epstein's scrutiny. So, in a less densely populated county of the UK is where he will take up residence. One more thing, I guess, on the Venezuelan boat strikes, I did a little thing, well, not a little thing, but at least a part on one of the previous sideshow programs. And this would have been during the Biden administration when he was selecting people for the northern section and also for the southern section, which is usually taken from the people who are chosen to fill these positions are usually taken from the military and are high-ranking generals. The Biden and his administration chose 2 women, one from the Army and one from the Navy. The Navy person, I believe, got the northern sector, which specifically oversees transportation of goods in and out of the United States. The southern sector on their to-do list is watching out for drug trafficking. So the person in charge of the southern sector in regards to this Venezuelan boat bombing was acting within the perimeters of their assigned responsibilities, whether drugs were discovered or not. There must have been enough preponderance of evidence to say that if nothing else, they were using a known drug trafficking route and were suitably discouraged to continue that activity. On several of the shows, I have referred to various martial arts activities and events, and I have another one for you today. But this one is kind of special to me because of the people involved. So it's dated for November 1, and it's from the Daily Express, and it's entitled TNT to host Pan-Caribbean Martial Arts Championship. So TNT stands for Trinidad and Tobago. So let's get into it. Trinidad and Tobago is set to become the regional hub for martial arts excellence and youth empowerment this November as the country prepares to host the Pan-Caribbean Martial Arts Championship World Games 2025 and the National Youth Expo Educational Caravan. So one thing about the martial arts, you can have people from all over the world come to a geographical location, attend and participate. It continues. The Pan-Caribbean Martial Arts Championship, themed The Legends Are Coming, will take place on November 9 at the Aranguez North Secondary School, bringing together martial arts icons and elite competitors from over 20 countries, including the United States, South Africa, South Korea, Ghana, Canada, and several Caribbean territories. The event, hosted by Professor Christopher Francis, will feature martial arts stars such as Wesley Snipes, Hanshi Carlos Montalvo, Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef, Grandmaster Tyari Cassell, Supreme Grandmaster C.O. Choi, Grandmaster James Vermick, Professor Supreme Grandmaster Frank de Gourville, and Hansi Mike Andrews. Also attending are prominent martial arts scientists and instructors, including Dr. Kevin Hufford, Sijo Steve Mohammed, and Dr. Cynthia Thompson. So here is my interest in this particular article. Besides Wesley Snipes being a movie star, in the order that they are presented, Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef became known to me early in my martial arts studies, not only because he was in New York at the time I was in DC, but also because he was the first black martial artist on film, even before Bruce Lee. So I used to remember it because there was also an actor named Ron Van Cleef, even though the spelling is a little different. And he was just a person that stood out in the martial arts community, Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef. Next person on the list is Grandmaster Tyari Cassell. Him I have met personally. I had enrolled at the Shaolin Wushu School in Maryland, Prince George's County, which was run by Dennis Brown, and Tyari was also there. And even then, and this is in the early 80s, he spoke about bringing martial arts from Africa and from the islands, Caribbean islands, to the States, so at least being able to visit and explore them further. So to see his name on this list for Trinidad and Tobago is like seeing that even with a few turns of the road, he still has managed to keep his interest and his presence in the martial arts community. The rest of the names are not known to me, but they have their own positions. So the article continues. And some of the people that were present there, since I'm speaking to it, Tyari, I guess Dennis is not probably doing something else, but say hello to Wesley for me. I can imagine Tyari going, And hey, Bob, if you're watching this, Tyari. And don't forget to say hi to Joe too. Hey. The article continues. The competition will span disciplines such as kata, sparring weapons, and traditional forms, showcasing the technical mastery and cultural diversity of martial arts. Professor Francis said the events aim to celebrate unity through martial arts while strengthening cultural and educational ties across the region. In the lead up to the championship, the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with martial arts federations and government agencies, will roll out the Trinidad and Tobago National Youth Expo Educational Caravan from November 5 to 8. The initiative, spearheaded by the Black Hawks Martial Arts Association and the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Martial Arts Federation, seeks to combat school violence and promote youth development through sport, culture, and education. Under the theme of fostering discipline, respect, and emotional intelligence, the caravan will visit. And then it gives a list of the itinerary. It continues through interactive workshops, seminars, and martial arts demonstrations. The caravan will address issues such as absenteeism, conflict resolution, and behavioral challenges. It aims to inspire positive change, reduce school violence, and establish sustainable mentorship systems for students. Organizers emphasize that both initiatives highlight the power of sport as a catalyst for education, discipline, and community development. Together, the Pan-Caribbean World Games and the Youth Expo Caravan represent a united effort to empower the next generation through physical, mental, and moral growth. It says you can contact them for more information. Visit www.caribbeanmartialartsgames.com. And it's kind of a play because I have been thinking about Dennis Brown and Tari Cassell the past several months because I haven't seen them in that many years, since the early 80s until now. So it makes me feel good to see his name in print and associated with this particular activity. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. Monday, November 3rd, 2025. That's it. Hashtag.